Hey everyone. It's really bad lighting in here tonight. I guess it's because it's fall, so it's starting to get darker earlier. So sorry for the bad lighting, but I didn't announce that I was going to do a live. I just figured I'd hop on here and see who was here. Say hi. Hi Raywood. Hi Tina. So I guess we'll kind of see who all hops on. And that'll determine how long I stay here and what we do. We could play pop culture trivia. I have pop culture trivia standing by, but it's kind of like I said, a deal. We'll see how many people we get. So for all of the people on TikTok, just saying hi. I am live on TikTok and YouTube both at the same time. You can either watch on TikTok, which is TikTok/@cult_radio, or you can watch over on YouTube, which is at youtube.com/dufonet, DUFOENET. So not a whole lot in retro pop culture going on this week. There was some sad news with the passing of Laura Dern's mom, Bruce Dern's ex-wife. So that was sad. She did so many great roles. Everybody always remembers her from the Alice movie. But she did so much stuff, even back in the AIP days, American International Pictures, where she even appeared with Bruce Dern. She was, I think, 89, and she passed this past week. And for those of you who follow me on TikTok, hopefully you guys are enjoying the clips and the videos and the stuff that I'm putting up. Try to put up stuff every day. A lot of people kind of don't really know why I do what I do or why I put up the clips that I put up. But I was talking to somebody about this just like a week or two ago. I think it's important that somebody is out there reminding people of the stuff that came before us, or maybe during our lifetime, but as time progresses, as it gets further and further into present day and all of the current pop culture, things like Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter and all of that stuff, a lot of the retro pop culture stuff is being forgotten about. It used to be that when you would turn on the oldies station, the oldies AM/FM radio station, you would hear music from the 50s and 60s. Now you're hearing music from the 70s, the 80s, and even sometimes the 90s. And it's like every time a new year or anytime a new generation comes along, it's like whatever is past the one or two generations or the one or two decades before the current generation, it's like that stuff ceases to exist. I almost feel like I can see in my head like it's turning into dust, and it's just all of the celluloid is disintegrating and all of the music is warping, and it's just going by the wayside, and people don't remember it. And so there used to be a lot of channels, people, shows that would remind people of the pop culture stuff that came before them. Even I remember when MTV used to do like, you know, the Remember the 80s and the Remember the 70s and all this kind of stuff. And there's less and less of that stuff now. So I always fear that if there isn't anybody out there posting this stuff, sharing this stuff, educating people about what came before them, not only will it stop being remembered, but there's not going to be any opportunity for the new generation to learn about this stuff. With doing cult radio and our live radio show Crag Live for 23 years now, there's been quite a few people that have told us over the years that they didn't know about this artist or they didn't know about this actor or director or writer, but because of our show, because we might have interviewed them, because we might have talked about a movie or an album or something, that they had discovered them for the first time. And then they went back and they did the research and they looked up their entire catalog of stuff that they've done, and they became a fan. And they kind of like unlocked this whole like retro secret of this like utopia of art that this person had created. And they loved it. But I feel like if there isn't somebody out there who is able to share this stuff, to remind people and to educate and teach future generations about some of this amazing art that we had back in the day, then it really will die. I mean, they always say when like an actor or a musician passes away, they say, well, but they left so much art for us. They'll live on forever in their movies and stuff like that. And that is true, as long as we're remembering their movies, their TV shows, their music. I mean, isn't kind of the definition of if somebody lives on as if they're still remembered? I don't know. You tell me. I mean, if somebody is forgotten, if somebody isn't remembered, does their legacy still live on? Or isn't that kind of like the definition of them sadly kind of ceasing to exist? So I want to keep as much of that alive as I can. And honestly, it's fun. Like today I was pulling clips for future days on TikTok. And in one of the days here coming up in the next week, it's the anniversary of the last time Cher performed with Sunny on the David Letterman show, on The Late Show. And I'd seen that clip hundreds of times. But, you know, I just stopped. It's always fun to just stop and revisit it. Sometimes you forget, even if you were there, sometimes you forget this stuff. So it's kind of fun to revisit it. I do have some videos in my drafts that'll be coming up on TikTok later tonight. Hi, Mustache Murphy. How are you doing? Today, I'm trying to remember everything that happened today in pop culture history. I believe today is King Kong Bundy's birthday. There's an old name. I don't know if anybody remembers King Kong Bundy, but he was back from the days of classic WWF. Mustache Murphy, do you remember King Kong Bundy? Were you a wrestling fan? I used to watch WWF religiously back in the days of like Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, Andre the Giant. You saw King Kong Bundy in person? That's pretty awesome. I never actually got to see any of the wrestlers in person. Terry, Hermie, shush. Terry actually got to see Andre the Giant in person. He saw Hulk Hogan. He saw Roddy Piper. I don't think he saw King Kong Bundy though. Was he big as he seemed? Who was bigger, King Kong Bundy or Andre the Giant? I don't know. They both seem massive. Seems like all the cool wrestlers are gone now. I know there's going to be a lot of wrestling fans that's going to hate that I said that, but they don't make them like, Andre and King Kong Bundy and Rowdy Roddy Piper anymore. So this is Hermie. He, of course, as soon as he knows that I was doing something, he decided that he was going to make sure that he was seen and heard, because he has to have all the attention all of the time. And yes, he is a hairless cat. He's a miniature. He's a miniature hairless cat, huh? Yeah. So today is King Kong Bundy's birthday. Let's see, what else happened today? I believe today is Joni Mitchell's birthday, if I'm remembering correctly. And I believe today is the day that Dean Stockwell passed away as well. So for all of you people on TikTok, I was just curious. It's not really retro pop culture, but what does everybody think of this whole Group 8, Group 7, Group 6 thing that's like going completely viral and crazy on TikTok? Does everybody have their group assignments? I mean, I know the origin of it. I know that it was, just some silly post that an independent artist put up, and it just happened to go viral and then blew up, and everybody was like, oh, well, I'm group this, I'm group that, or whatever. But I'm sorry, there's still part of me that feels like being grouped into any random group, like, that's a little bit George Orwell. Don't you guys feel like that's a little weird? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But so, and then the other thing that I was cracking up about is that everybody was turning, because I ended up seeing the Group 7 messages, the Group 7 TikTok. So I was in Group 7. And then everybody turned it into a thing about the Prince song, 7. And I was like, being a fairly significant Prince fan myself, to the point to where I even have him, I don't know if you guys can see that, I even have him tattooed on me. Part of me was just thinking, I kind of feel like he would hate this, and I kind of feel like he would hate that his song is being used for it, especially on TikTok, where he wasn't going to be getting royalties from it. So I don't know. I love that song, but I can't really get down with that being used for Group 7 of some random George Orwellian type of assignment. I mean, it's not political, but it just feels like assimilation to me. Like I said, maybe I'm overthinking it. Mustache Murphy, you haven't posted some videos in a while, I don't think, unless I just haven't seen them. Have you been posting? Yep. Hi, Jay, over on YouTube. Yeah, so once again, guys, I'm on YouTube and TikTok. I'm probably not going to be on for very long tonight. Just thought I would pop in to see if anybody was around. Things are starting to get busy with the holidays, so. TikTok hides you, Mustache? I didn't know TikTok hid. Is it just that you're not getting into the algorithm, the FYP algorithm, or are they literally like hiding you? The thing about TikTok that I've noticed is that they clearly have some very aggressive but ill-informed bots that monitor everybody's posts. Like there will be videos that I will put up that arguably, like, I could understand why they limit the audience, because they're like movie trailers for like horror films from the 70s and the 80s. And like, I had posted the oh, really? Mustache says he found out when he liked a video it would unlike them. Really? That's interesting. That's kind of crooked, isn't it? It's kind of not kosher. Isn't what everybody is on TikTok for, is for likes, views, and engagement? Isn't that how everybody grows on TikTok? Isn't that what they want everybody to do? Um, that's interesting. So, I lost my train of thought. Hold on. Okay. So there will be videos that I'll put up on TikTok that I could understand why they would limit the audience, because like I put up the trailer from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from the 1970s. And there are scenes, I put up the trailer for Terminator, and there are scenes where it could be legitimately flagged for restricting the audience because of gore and violence. But what I've found is that 9 times out of 10, when a video of mine gets flagged, it's not a legitimate reason. It's because their bots were overzealous and turned around and went in there and just randomly flagged something. Like, there was one time, it was a video of like the TV show opening to the kids television show Kukla, Fran and Ollie. And there was another time it was the TV show opening to Captain Kangaroo. These were children's shows. And they limited the audience and flagged them for gore and violence. And I'm just like, okay, clearly there's nobody actually looking at these, because that's the most ridiculous reason to flag a video that is literally like a 1950s children's television show opening that I've ever heard in my life. I did, Mustache Murphy. Yeah. I don't think it was last week, but like maybe the week before or so, I did a TikTok live and a YouTube live, because I always simulcast on both. And we talked about the Monroeville Mall. Yeah, they said, the article had said that it's, I guess, going to be there until like 2027. They haven't, at least the article I saw, unless it's changed. But they do have plans to rip it down and put a Sam's Club there, which is sad. Yeah. I was actually talking to somebody, because I had traveled back to Illinois on the 11th, the weekend of the 11th, October 11th. Yeah, and the person that had traveled with me was from Pennsylvania. And I had mentioned the Monroeville Mall. And she was like, oh, I've never heard of it. And I was like, have you never heard of the Monroeville Mall? She clearly wasn't a horror movie fan. But yeah. And it's so sad, because it kind of goes back to what I was talking about with why I think it's important to like post the clips of like stuff from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, and sometimes even older than that. Because if you don't, people forget. And if people forget, then it ceases to exist. But at the same thing is happening to landmarks. They're just shutting down stuff, tearing down stuff, and nobody gives a crap anymore. And it's all so that they can, like, I was just talking to somebody the other day, we were talking about venues out here in Los Angeles that were so important to the music scene. Places like the Whiskey A Go Go and the Rainbow Room and the Roxy. And I had mentioned that I had always wanted to go to CBGB's on the East Coast. It's been shuttered. It's been closed down. And routinely am seeing that stuff happen out here in Los Angeles. Like, a lot of times you can't even go and sightsee historical landmarks and things that were important back in the day anymore because they're all gone. To say, oh, classic Hollywood, there's no classic Hollywood left. You talked to the guy who directed the movie? Are you referring to Dawn of the Dead? It's not, no. And for what? Why? Okay. Altoona. Okay. Well, why? Because we really need another Sam's Club? Why? It's just like I was telling the gal I was talking to the other day. I'm like, yeah, they're always tearing stuff down here in LA. And for why? Because we really need another strip mall. We really need another parking structure. We really need another giant high rise of apartments that nobody can afford. Yeah, that's what we need. Well, there is such a lack of caring about history and the preservation of it. I even remember when places like Turner Classic Movies and stuff, they used to be really involved with, restoring films, and so you don't hear about that stuff anymore. Like, is there anybody out there that's still doing film restoration and preservation? I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm, banging on a drum, but it's true. Like, everything in our past is slipping away. I agree. I agree, Mustache Murphy. It is upsetting. And all we're going to be left with is people that do homemade movies on their cell phones or their live video cameras versus film, and we're not going to be left with any kind of history or anything. It kind of goes into where well, at least you got a free you get a free signed poster. At least you got that. It kind of goes into another one of my pet peeves, and I don't want to sound like I am being hypocritical, but because I am a YouTube, I do have a YouTube channel. You guys, if you follow my TikTok account, you know that I post videos promoting that I put our radio interviews with a slideshow up over on our YouTube channel so that people can listen to the interviews. And they're not in person. They're radio interviews, but I put them in a slideshow and I put them on YouTube. So I do have a YouTube channel, and it is monetized. But when did you? This is going to make me sound horrible. When did YouTube become a full-time job? I mean, I love YouTubers. Don't get me wrong. I have a stable of YouTubers that I do watch. Okay, but a lot of the YouTubers that I watch started out as fans of movies and TV and music and pop culture and started doing their channel because of that. And then they got a big audience and they got monetized, and all of a sudden the money off of their YouTube channel is all they care about. So, it's constantly like, buy this, pay for this, subscribe to my membership. I'm going to be doing stuff that's for members only, blah, 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 blah. And it really has become their full-time job. And, we, as viewers will even get speeches about, well, if you don't donate or you don't do this, I'm not going to be able to keep making content. And I'm just like, you know what? This is something you should be doing because you're passionate about it, because it's a hobby that you love. Nobody ever said that being a YouTube celebrity is your full-time job. It's something, it's a tool. YouTube to me is no different than TikTok. It is a tool to get the word out about what we do. The radio show, the radio station, the interviews that we've done. the magazines that we write for. It's definitely not a full-time job. NES, you mean TikTok mustache? Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Jay. It's just like, okay, well, it, and you know what's funny is that a lot of the YouTubers that also have made it their full-time job, um, will also complain about not having any privacy. And it's kind of like, okay, it's kind of like being if you're going to say that this is your full-time job, then you are assuming the position of a public figure. You're trying to say that you're basically a YouTube celebrity. So if you're going to say you're a YouTube celebrity, and I say that in quotes because I hate that term, then you are signing up for the same thing that any other celebrity is signing up for. If you're going to be a public figure, you don't get to, I'm sorry, you don't get to have a lot of privacy. That's just the way that it is. You're either a public figure or you're not. And if you feel like it's the audience's duty to pledge money, give you money, subscribe, donate, whatever the case may be, to help you pay your bills, you can't say, well, that's fine up until the time that I want to have a private life, and then just, don't talk to me, don't look at me, leave me be. It's one or the other. I mean, what major celebrity in Hollywood do you know that is rich and famous and yet is never bothered when they go to the supermarket? It just doesn't happen. Oh, yeah. Yeah, YouTube can be picky about stuff too. Mustache. So, uh, YouTube doesn't like if you use any music or any sounds that you don't completely own the copyright to. I think it's some crazy rule, like you could use like 8 seconds or something like that. And if you use more than that, then you'll get a strike. And if you get so many strikes, then you get, slapped on the hand or banished into YouTube jail or whatever. Murphy. Okay, I'll call you Murphy. Yeah, so there was a while that I would put up. I'm very cautious with YouTube. Really, honestly, over at YouTube, the only thing that I put up over there is the celebrity interviews that we did for the radio show. And even with that, I will not include. I won't even include audio from movie trailers because a lot of times they'll have copywritten music in the trailers, and YouTube is very picky about that stuff. So the only thing that I put up over on YouTube is the interviews that we did for the radio show because A, it's all talking. There's no music cues in there. And B, we own the interview because we conducted it for our radio show. So I do use one song in the opening and closing of the interviews, but that's because I own the song. It was actually gifted to us by a group called the Blue Zombies, who is actually partially made up of some members of the Moonrays, if you guys know who the Moonrays are. So, but that's the only song I'll use, and that's only because I own the rights to it. So, YouTube is very, very finicky and picky about that kind of stuff. So, but I will be honest, I will be fair that YouTube is very forward and forthcoming about that stuff. Like they tell you from the beginning, like these are the rules, this is what you're allowed to use, this is what you're not allowed to use. Whereas TikTok will just randomly flag your videos for a reason that has zero to do with anything in your video. Like when they said that the opening to the 1950s Captain Kangaroo children's television show was flagged for violence and gore. I still can't get over that one. I don't understand. Yeah, Murphy, I thought so too. But you know what? Greed is a horrible thing, which is why so much of classic Hollywood and our past and history and pop culture is disappearing. Because at the end of the day, isn't that what it boils down to? Greed. Well, this land is valuable. This land is worth blah, 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 blah. So if we tear this down, we put a Sam's Club there, we put a mall there, or we put a shopping center there, we can make more money off of it. So it's sad. It is really sad. And I do feel like I said, as time goes on and we get more and more younger, like generation fans, and it's not their fault, but they don't know about the stuff that came before them. But there used to be a lot more sources that were, their goal was to teach the new generation about the stuff that came before them. And now all of a sudden it's like nobody cares. You know, there is no, and I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that are interested in stuff that came before them, but there's not a lot of forward thought or forward efforts to try to preserve and educate future generations. And it's become even worse post-COVID and with the inception of AI, to be honest, because now our younger generations, not only are they not being ushered into an education about the stuff that came before them, but they're starting to lack social skills. I know that sounds funny, but it's true. Hi, Luna. It's totally true. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine who is interviewing for jobs, and some of the horror stories that she's told me about just the people that she's come into contact with and how they have no social skills and they're either completely inept at being able to communicate or they're just plain out rude. And I'm sitting there thinking it has to be A, because of COVID and the fact that people got so used to being, even more so than they were before, behind a screen. And not interacting human to human in person with people. But also, you know, our generation of young adults now that's coming up they are the generation that grew up behind screens. So they grew up, you know, on social media. They grew up behind their phone. They grew up playing video games. They never knew or had the experience that a lot of us had where it was like, yeah, go play outside and just come back in when the street lights come on. Because when the street lights come on, that means it's time to go home and have dinner because playtime is over. Generations don't know that now because they're just behind a video game controller all day. Hi, Tim. That's okay. I'm not going to be on for that long tonight, so maybe just another like 15, 20 minutes or so. No problem. I'm on, for anybody just tuning in, I'm on YouTube Live. If you see me talking to somebody you don't see, it's because I'm actually simulcasting. So I'm on YouTube Live over at youtube.com/DufoNet, and I'm on TikTok Live as well. Over at TikTok, our profile is at @cult_radio. Hold on, I missed some comments. SNL did a skit 10 years ago called The Millennials, and that nails what you're saying. Yeah, no, I've seen that skit. It's true. These kids. Okay, let me tell you for example, about how the younger generation and these kids, they never look up from their phones. I was watching a TV show, a travel show, where they go to like different countries or whatever. And they had went to, it was The Reluctant Traveler with Eugene Levy, because I love Eugene Levy. Like, I love his whole family. I just really want to like either be adopted or married into the Levy family. Like, I love them. And so Eugene had went to Korea, and he was being, the whole premise, the joke of the show is that Eugene is like this almost 80-year-old, you know, uncool dad type dude who is trying to get out of his comfort zone and learn and experience new things. So he went to Korea because he was trying to understand the K-pop phenomenon. And so they were bringing him around, showing him around, whatever. But here is how ingrained society is now with their phones. In Korea, they have it, like in the United States, when you go to cross the street, you hit the little button at the crosswalk, and you have to wait for the light with the white walking guy to show up so that you know it's safe to cross the street. In Korea, they are aware of the fact that younger people have their face buried in their phone, and they're always looking down at the phone. So in Korea, when you push the button to cross the street, there is a light strip on the ground by your feet that will turn green when it's safe for you to cross the street, because they know that people are buried in their phones and they never look up. So that's to the point to where we're starting to change our traffic patterns. We're starting to change our technology because people have become so not only tech reliant, but just behind the screen all the time. People don't know how to talk to each other anymore. Like Luna said, I'm not even sure if people eat dinner together anymore. I did. Terry and I did. Every single night, it didn't matter what had went on during the day, we would have dinner and watch either a movie or a TV show together every single night. So, but I don't think a lot of people do that anymore. And it's sad. I think the new generation, probably their parents text them more than they talk to them. So I think I think everybody loves the levies. I don't know very many people who don't love the levies. You know what, Murphy? I enjoy talking to people face to face too. It's interesting. I don't know if it's because I took care of my dad for so long, because we basically, the way that it happened here is that we had COVID, and then right after COVID, Terry was diagnosed with lymphoma, and he was bedbound for 3 years. And so I was here taking care of him for those 3 years. So it was like a span of like 4 to 5 years where I was like here taking care of him nonstop. So I enjoy talking to people face to face, and I'm totally good with doing that. I'm not socially, like, I don't have social anxiety or social awkwardness, but I have two things I've realized. One, I've realized I'm an extroverted introvert, because I'll go out, I'll talk to people, I'll have a great time, but then I'm exhausted. And I need to just be able to like cocoon and like, be in my little hole and just with my cats. But the other thing is that people, if you haven't noticed this, pay attention the next time you're around people like face to face. People have started not feeling comfortable looking somebody in the eye when they talk to them. And again, I think it's because we're becoming so technologically disconnected from people, and we're so used to being behind a screen, or whether it's our phone or our computer or our laptop or iPad, whatever. People have become so disconnected that now if you talk to somebody and you look them directly in the eye, a lot of times they'll break glance with you, because people are, it's really interesting. It's kind of like a psychological thing, like something about making eye contact with people start to feel uncomfortable with it now. Luna, you're a very sociable person, though. I mean, we've been talking for like a long time. You love to, Murphy, you love to party out in the night sky under the stars. Are you doing that sky clad now, or are you closed? Tim, you said you go over to your brother's houses for Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners. Well, yeah, but see, you have your mom, so you share birthday meals with your mom. Do you eat with your mom every night, or is it just for like special occasions? Luna, Luna, you come up with some stuff that I really enjoy chatting with you about, because you come up with stuff that nobody's like. I haven't found anybody that can talk to me about that stuff in a long time. Anna, I can't play music right now on TikTok, no. But I do have a radio station that you can listen to if you want to go over to cragradio.com, which is CRAGGRADIO.com. We actually have 5 radio stations. We have a horror and Halloween themed radio station. We have a Christmas music radio station, a retro pop culture radio station, a radio station called As Heard on TV, which is all classic TV theme songs and movie trailers, and then a radio station of old time radio, like old dramas and things like that. Really, Tim? But so okay, so you live with her, but you guys don't like eat together every night? I don't know. Maybe it's a Midwest thing. Maybe that's just how I was raised. Like we always, and again because I'm a little bit older. But Tim, you're a little older than me, so that shouldn't be lost on you. But like for me, like I said, maybe it's a Midwest thing. Like every night, no matter what, we didn't really eat like breakfast or lunch together. But every night we would sit down and have dinner together, and we would watch, even if it was only like YouTube videos, we would watch something together every night. Luna, I feel like the next time I'm up your way, I need to let you know, and we can like go have coffee or something like that, because clearly there's no lack of stuff for us to talk about. So you'll just have to get over the shyness. Trust me, I can talk enough for multiple people. It's kind of what I've done for like 23 years. So Tim, you guys cook your own meals. Why? You know what? That's okay. Well, but that's the one thing that I've thought was really that I've struggled with, honestly, since Terry passed away, is that with it just being me and the cats, I'm like, for like the first week or 3, I was literally just eating like a college kid. Like it was like whatever was microwavable, whatever was in the freezer. Sometimes it literally like was a can of tuna and like crackers. And because I didn't see a point in like making like, I'm a great cook, which you can tell by my weight. But I didn't see a point in making like a whole like full out cooking a whole meal for just me, because I was like that's stupid. Like so I don't understand that. Like you guys both making your own meals? Like wouldn't you guys just wouldn't it be easier to just agree on what you guys both want and then make one meal and then split it? I've actually started doing food prep for myself. So every Sunday now, and it's actually made things a lot easier. So every Sunday, I will pick like 3 big meals, like 3 meals like I would have made for Terry and I in the household. And it'll be like, a casserole or tri-tip or a pot roast or, lasagna or something like that. And I will just make all 3 on Sunday, and then I portion them out, wrap them up, stick them in the refrigerator, and then every night I just pick one and microwave it, and that's my food for the next week. Because when it got down to it with me cooking every night, for just me, a lot of times I would have intentions to do it. And then when I got there, I was like, this is a lot of work for just me and I'm not going to do it. And then I would just eat garbage. So. You know, Tim, a diabetes diet is not that bad. Back when I was trying to get Terry to keep to his diabetic diet, I had put myself on it as well. It wasn't that bad. You could always slip a little salt in it on the side. Your mom doesn't have to know. It's fine. Oh, there's a whole bunch of messages I missed. I'm sorry, guys. I thought it was weird it wasn't scrolling. Hold on. I tell you a lot of stories about me hanging out with movie stars, so I have lots of stories. Murphy, you're on the East Coast though, right? Yep, Luna, that is us, as heard on TV. That is one of our 5 stations. Oh, wait, what's happening? Stop it. Go away. Okay. You are Murphy, but not by much. I am 42. I just turned 42 in September. And I give zero craps about telling people how old I am. I also give zero craps about worrying about how much I weigh. The only reason that I even try to stay active and try to keep my weight down is because it makes me feel like crap when, like, the more weight I'm carrying around, the more I feel like crap. I had actually, about 3 years ago, I went on like a super crazy like workout / diet regime, and I had lost 100 pounds. I used to be almost 300 pounds, and I lost 100 pounds, and I got down to I think like 170. But the stress over, which it was funny because Terry didn't like it. He told me that I looked like Skeletor. He said I looked emaciated, which I don't think I did, but you know, whatever. But the stress over the last like 12 months or so, I've kind of put some of the weight back on. So I need to get back down, but I don't do it because I worry about what people think of me or what I look like to other people. I just do it because I notice, you know, that it's harder on me to do certain things when I'm carrying the extra weight. So, yeah, I don't care about telling people how old I am. I have gray hair. I dye it out. You know, age happens and it sucks. Trust me. Yes, Murphy. So I think the last time you were on a TikTok live with us, you were on a live with me and Terry. Terry was sitting next to me. That was my dad. And he passed away on September 3rd. He had been fighting cancer for 3 years, and it came back in August, and they didn't catch it in time, and he ended up passing away in the hospital on September 3rd. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to catch up. Hi, Cy Bob. So, do you stay up later, Tim? Is that why? Is your mom more of like a morning person? You're more of like a late night person? Or is it flip-flop? Thank you, Murphy. Yeah, I actually went to the post office today, and actually his death certificate came in the mail today. They had actually put on the death certificate something that I didn't even know, but I guess it's caused by lymphoma. He had B-cell lymphoma, and he got that in 2022. And then he went into chemo, he went into remission, and then in 2020, was it 2023? Yeah, 2023, he got it again. And so then they put him into chemo again for monoclonal antibody chemotherapy, which was supposed to be like the latest, greatest, most strong chemotherapy that there was. And he went into remission again. And he was fine up until this year. And I started noticing some symptoms. And by the time that we got him to the hospital, I was telling them, I'm like, I've been through this twice before. I've been his sole caregiver for the past 3 years. I know the symptoms. I know the traits. I'm telling you, the lymphoma is back. This is how his body behaves when it is back. You need to get him into treatment now because he gets aggressive lymphoma. And when he gets it, it moves very fast. They didn't listen to me. Oh, it was Labor Day weekend. There's going to be a delay with the test results. Blah, 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 blah. His organs started failing. He went into septic shock. And his body just couldn't, his heart couldn't handle it. The stress on his body was too much. And they literally got me the test results confirming what I already knew, that he had lymphoma literally like 2 hours before he passed away. Thank you, Murphy. You know, I'm still doing everything we always did. Terry knew for 3 years that he was battling cancer, and he just kind of knew that once you've had it, it's more likely that it comes back. Also, cancer runs in our family, taken out everybody but me so far. So we had long conversations about what he wanted to have done after he passed away. And one of the things that he always said is that he wanted me to keep doing what we always did. So he still wants the radio stations to survive, which they are. He still wants an occasional live show to happen, which it is. He still wants me to keep doing TikTok. He still wants me to keep doing YouTube, all that kind of stuff. So it's not the same. I'm not gonna lie and say it is. It's even for me, it's hard to sit here by myself without him, to bounce off of. But I will keep doing what we do, because he and I had also talked about how people are forgetting. They're forgetting the stuff that came before them, and there's nobody out there educating people anymore. And so he thought he was driven to do that, and he wants me to keep doing that, and I, of course, will. So, Tim, you're more of I figured you were, Tim, and she's more of a morning person. I was always a late night person, but now even on the weekends, I wake up at 7:30 in the morning, no matter what. Of course, I've been having trouble sleeping through the night, too, but that's just because of insomnia, so. Yeah, Murphy, in fact, everybody I know in real life, not behind the screen, has been urging me to go and get screened because cancer runs in my family. I mean, it took out my grandma, my grandpa, Terry's mom and dad, my uncle, Terry's brother, and now Terry. So. And it's all been different forms of cancer, too, which I thought was weird. I always thought that, like, if cancer ran in your family, it'd be the same type. But my grandma passed with stomach cancer. My grandpa passed with leukemia. My uncle was brain cancer, and Terry was lymphoma. Sorry, Bob, did you hear the news about Doctor Who? They haven't announced a new doctor yet, but and there's not going to be a Christmas special this year. But there's supposed to be a Christmas special next year, and it's going to be Russell T Davies again, which I'm hoping is going to be his last thing before he says bye. And And I would assume that the Christmas special next year will hopefully explain the whole Billy Piper thing and select a new doctor, but God knows what we're going to get. So thank you, Murphy. I'll talk to you soon. I'm probably going to go here in a few minutes too, because I've been on for about an hour and I'm old now. So I'm usually in bed by like 10:30. And I have to eat my prepared food from Sunday so that I can prepare new food in the next couple of days. Good. The whole team should leave. It's ridiculous. They should just all go because they ruined it. They killed it. Ncuti got screwed. Okay, I'm still mad about that. And they successfully killed Doctor Who, and now we don't get anything for like over a year. Well, I feel old, Bob. I will, I'm waking up now at like, first of all, I wake up every night, no matter what, at 3 a.m. I don't know why. I just do. Even if I take like melatonin or something, 3 o'clock, eyes wide open like an owl. And then if I do manage to go back to sleep, I get up every day at 7:30. And usually by 9 o'clock, I'm exhausted. And by 10:30, I'm asleep. Sometimes I'll get crazy and I'll stay up till like 11:30. Watch out. But I have friends that are like my age or like maybe only a couple years younger than me that are still going out and like going to bars until 2 in the morning. And I'm like, I can't do that. See, Bob, you just proved my point. You said you wake up in the middle of the night too, but you think it's because you're old. See, I am old. See, that's what I'm trying to say. Eating helps her heartburn, Tim? That's surprising. I'm starting to get heartburn too, but I started to do that like a month or two before Terry passed. Yeah, they did. Susan got totally screwed. She came out of basically like this retirement. She got her chance to come back and have her story arc, and then it got cut and thrown away and not explained and left hanging. She got totally screwed. Okay, now TikTok is trying to doesn't believe I'm a person. Okay. All right. Okay, so everybody on TikTok, I'm going to sign off for now. I will be posting my pop culture trivia stuff on TikTok in a few minutes throughout the rest of the night over the next couple of hours. So I will see you guys later. Bye. Tim, I would think pizza is the worst thing possible that your mom could eat for heartburn, to be honest. I hope they get Susan into the Christmas special too, because she got royally screwed. And I know Terry was upset about that. He was PO'd. All right, guys, I'm going to go. It's been about an hour. And to be honest, I really have to pee. I'm just, like I said, I'm past caring. That's the other reason, Bob, I know that I'm old. Not only am I waking up in the middle of the night, not only am I going to bed early and getting up early, but I give zero craps about what anybody thinks about me anymore. So it's just like, I got nothing to lose. It's all good. Well, you know what, Tim? The one thing I learned with my dad, as long as it's not going to end up hurting them, if it's something they enjoy, let them have it. I think my dad's last meal here at home, which I had to help him eat because he was starting to have motor function issues, was my homemade shrimp bisque, which he absolutely loved. And he only ate a little bit of it because he was lymphoma was back. He was sick. And so I really wanted him to eat more. And so I literally just gave him like cream cheese mousse out of like a cheesecake. And he just sat there. I mean, you know what? Go for it. Eat what you want. Life's too short. Yeah, you're right, Bob. That is the other advantage of getting old. All right, guys, I'm going to go. I will talk to you later. Tomorrow, I'm either going to run a classic Crag or I may just leave the station on random play. We'll see. I might be putting the Christmas decorations up tomorrow. I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to, but it's difficult. You guys know why. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.